just to see where everybody's at, you know, get a read of the room. I haven't seen Sergeant Soul Saver come in here yet. Okay. Evelyn, welcome. Okay, I see the votes is going in for yes. Hi, Evelyn, welcome. Welcome to Theory Thursday. Thank you. Thank you, Step Barbie. I see 5 yeses. Do we have any no's for the poll? Let's see. Okay. I don't see any no's. So it seems like everybody here believes in reincarnation to a certain extent. So this shall be fun. Thank you, Sammy. Okay, guys. So we are going to actually break it down into, give me 1 second. We're really going to break it down into the 5 questions that I had pre-sent my guests. My guests, if you're here, you can start requesting the box. I will let the audience know now what those questions were, just so you guys know what to expect of the conversation that we're going to have. The first question is, do you believe in reincarnation? Why or why not? So they'll go into detail about their beliefs regarding reincarnation. The second question is, if you lived a past life, what do you feel you might have been? That'll be interesting. What's a lesson you think your soul is here to learn in this lifetime? Do you think karma plays a role in shaping our next life, and how so? And the last question is, what does spiritual success look like to you by the end of this life? Yeah, me too. I'm excited. I'll also be sharing some of my answers. Lola, welcome, beautiful. Okay, welcome, Dr. Valentine, Stud Barbie. Everybody is looking amazing. Thank you for being here. Okay, so we will start with what the poll question was, with the do you believe in reincarnation? We'll start with Lola and work our way around Dr. B, Stud Barbie. And then next question, we'll start with Stud Barbie.
Okay, so yes, I do believe in reincarnation. It's a part of the life cycle.
Okay. Dr. Valentine?
1,000%, 100%. I'm agree. I'm a believer.
Okay.
In the same boat with y'all. I'm definitely a believer in reincarnation as well.
Oh, I'm excited. Okay, let's ask this next question. Well, first I'll start with giving the audience some further details. So for those of you who aren't familiar with what reincarnation is, it's basically the idea that our souls have lived in the past. It's different aspects. So you could have been here as a different human on a different level in life, or a different animal. Some cultures even believe that you could have been a certain element. I can't seem to process that, but is there anything about that topic that any of you would want to add?
I wouldn't say I'm familiar with. I mean, I believe it's possible. Yeah, but I'm not familiar with like souls being in the elemental part. But I do believe in the soul being able to be reworked in different forms. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Stud Barbie, do you think different forms, or do you think we can only reincarnate as like another human?
Oh yeah, I think we can reincarnate into different forms, and that all these reincarnations are also tied together. So like this is the reincarnation where we're all tied together, but in some other in our last reincarnation, we we were also together, but it was just a different mix up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We just found each other a different way.
Okay. Okay. What about you, Dr. B? Do you think we can come back in anything in the animal kingdom, or just humans?
Animal, plants, trees, rocks. You know what I'm saying? Because everything is everything. Well, my personal belief is everything is conscious, right? Everything is forward conscious. So therefore, it's either you reincarnate or ascend. And when you ascend, I feel as if you're going into a different reality, dimension, planet, whatever. I don't understand. Nobody really understands, but that's typically what I believe.
Yes, I love that. That was well said. High royalty. Okay, so yeah, according to Hinduism, the soul is basically on an ongoing journey. It's called, well, the soul is called Atman, and it's eternal, and it goes through cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. This cycle is called samsara. That's pretty interesting to me because, you know, subconsciously, I've already been like resonating with that concept in my head. So to know that like it is a certain process, that was interesting for me, to be able to put it into words. So that cycle of going through birth, death, and rebirth, it's called samsara. So the next question is, if you lived a past life, what do you feel you might have been? For myself, I'll answer it, then Stud Barbie, you can go around, and we'll start with Stud Barbie, Dr. B, then Lola. I feel like I definitely was a healer, like a soul mediator. I feel like I feel like I always carry other people's energy, and this lifetime, I feel like I have a lot of times where I remember based off of like strong emotions, where I'm like, ooh, this feels like very familiar. Certain areas, certain people, certain experiences, re-triggers, and I'm like, why is it affecting me? So that's for me. I feel like a healer, something of that sort, of that nature. What about you, Stud Party?
Mm, I'm not sure what I've been at all as far as like elements are concerned, or maybe I could have been an animal, but I know whatever I was doing wasn't that bad because I feel pretty blessed this lifetime. And but at the same time, it wasn't good enough because I'm still here. So I don't know what I was doing, but it wasn't too bad because like I really truly feel blessed.
I like that. What about you, Dr. B?
Boy, I, you know, I really don't know. I'm not one of them people that has any flashes of the past life or nothing like that. Like, there's some people out there that do that, but I don't really have nothing like that. But I tell you this, right? I must have been a bad mamma jamma, man.
What makes you
You
say
know, because like Stud said, I'm still here. You know, I didn't ascend into a different dimension, so I'm still here. You dig what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't really know. I have no idea. You know, no idea, no feeling, nothing.
that? Okay, I get that. What about you, Lola?
So as far as just like how we were talking about like the soul in different forms, I actually know exactly who I was in past life. Can't speak on that, but what they were saying was interesting as far as like what I wrote down when Suburb said not good enough. I think it might be something. What if it's just you just wanted to come back? What if you just felt like it was unfinished business instead of it being like a negative connotation saying that? Because I know we're going to get into the karma part later, but it doesn't necessarily have to be something bad. It could just be like, you know, because there are some souls that really just, or some entities, I guess we can call it, that really love Earth, love humanity, and voluntarily come back to be a part of raising the vibration.
That was well said. I like how you said that. We're definitely going to get more into that. Let me see what that next question was. So actually, I feel like it goes perfectly with the next question, because the next question is, what's a lesson you think your soul is here to learn in this lifetime? I feel like it goes hand in hand because, like Lola was saying, it doesn't have to necessarily be like a negative connotation, right? We could be back to learn a different lesson. Not to say that you were a bad person. I love how Stud Birdie said that she feels blessed, because that goes to show you that in my opinion, in your past lifetime, if you feel blessed in this lifetime, in your past lifetime, you was doing something right, you know, because of that karma aspect that we're also going to tap into. But yeah, so just we could start with the lesson. What's a lesson you think your soul? Oh wait, let me plug the show, guys. Welcome to Theory Thursday. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. This is a safe space where we dive deep, we think differently, and we question everything in a fun and curious way. Tonight, we are exploring reincarnation. It's the idea that your soul has done this before and that your soul will possibly do it again. So we'll go into the lessons of what we feel our soul's lesson is for this lifetime. You can also touch base on if you feel like you may have overcame a certain lesson in a different lifetime, and you know, I don't know, you can kind of just talk on that however you would like to. Lola, we can start with you.
So for this incarnation, I know that I'm here to teach and learn about love, family, relationships, and sex. So those are the categories. Obviously, they kind of all play into one another, and I feel like that's also a part of why before I became as self-aware as I am now, I had a lot of struggles and a lot of trauma in all those areas, and that's where a lot of those lessons are stemming from, and I'm still healing, you know, from. But definitely those. That's why I'm here.
I like that. Dr. V, the lessons you feel like you're here to try to
lessons and blessings for sure. I definitely believe through, like, not just through meditation, right? Through meditation and stuff like that, when I do astral projection and stuff like that, I'm able to get downloads. And when I say downloads, I download it from this is my belief now. I download it from a universal consciousness that we all got access to, right? So when I get these downloads, it helps me take self-inventory and helps me understand that I had problems with greed, selfishness, and stuff like that, and it helps me. I need to be, you know, humble, you know, stuff like that. You dig what I'm saying? So whether I was like a super duper full of myself person in the past or something like that, or whether I was dealing with that now, I have to deal with them things, on this playing field. You feel me? So,
Yeah.
yeah, shit like that.
Okay. I like that. Okay. What about you, Steph Barbie?
Um, well, I wouldn't have phrased it this way if it wasn't for Lola here. It's just saying it, but she said it best. Um, the way I came up with it before was more like kind of like just be here for you guys. That's why I feel like I exist. But the way she put it is way better, which was like to raise your vibrations. I feel like I have like all this energy in me every day, and I'm here to just like share it in the most positive way that I can.
Hmm. Just a light in
Yeah,
our
because I
life.
don't have like this. I don't have like this. Like I don't feel like I'm here to like I'm here to build a family, but not like bear. I don't feel like I'm here to like bear a child. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So I do have that sense of family through my family and through you guys and through the people I interact. Like I really do see everybody as my brother and sister type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all just need to take more showers.
That's hilarious, but I love that though. The aspect of family.
So
okay, yo. So for me, I feel like I resonate with each of you with what you had to say, but I feel like for me, I feel like the lesson that I would feel like I'm picking up on in life is like really the struggles that I've had to overcome, kind of like you've said, Lola. And I feel like that biggest struggle that I have kind of overcame, but still learning if I have truly overcome, because you're constantly supposed to be loving, right? I constantly want to give love and not hate, but for me, it was always about like learning to love without like overextending, right? Learning that balance, learning to love without losing myself. I think my soul came back again to like prove to myself that I can love wholeheartedly while loving myself at the center. I don't know, I'm kind of going on a tangent, but something along the lines of loving myself wholeheartedly and not losing myself, because I feel like that's always where I go wrong. Like I end up giving too much of myself too early, or end up not wanting to give myself at all. So I just be having to find that balance, you know? Um, so I'm still learning if I'm healing or like learning the lesson of that. But I feel like that's the biggest lesson repeatedly. It's a repeated cycle in this lifetime. So I feel like it's a repeated cycle that I've constantly been trying to overcome, you know? Um, but yeah.
um I just wanted to add one more thing to all of this. And it kind of ties into what Lola was saying about me possibly choosing to be here. You and saying maybe that I wasn't so bad, but then Dr. Valentine saying like this could be the last time we might ascend after this, you know?
I, that's just
Um,
that's just my personal belief. I believe that we like at the bottom on the totem pole. I feel like in this reality, if we living in layers of reality, I feel like we like on the bottom basis of reality, and it has to be something better than the reality we live on. That's the only reason why I say we keep coming back here. If we don't conquer what we're supposed to conquer, which is I feel is spread unconditional love. You know what I mean, and raise the vibration on this planet to bring heaven to earth. I don't think we die and go to heaven. I think we bring heaven to earth. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the plan.
so for me, like I'm not sure like if this will be the last time for me, if I've accepted a certain truth, but I had a homie bring me some peace. He told me, he was like, me and you, he's like, this is not our last time. We got one more go. And I was like, for real, homie? He's like, yeah. I was like, so what are we doing here right now, homie? And he's like, we're here to like really have a good time and spread that good love one more time. But next time we're going. So, and it's gonna be rough. I said, word, homie. All right. So it gave me a little bit more peace to like, I guess, have a little bit more fun with life because I spend so much time working. You know, I spend a lot of my youth working, like gotta do this, gotta do that, like bag chase this, bag chase that, and then miss out on things and like realize like, damn, y'all take a lot of pictures and I'm not in any of this, you know. So it gave me a little piece of like, all right, I can have a little bit more fun because I'll be back one more time and then we finna do some homework.
No, seriously, I believe in the concept of Earth School, and I think that there's two ways to look at repeated cycles and lessons. So, like I was saying, it doesn't necessarily like real school. We know that there's different levels. So, I could have to repeat the same grade if I didn't pass, right? Because I get all these lessons, it builds up, then I have to take a test. The test then is going to determine if I go to the next grade. But then, if I do, let's think about high school. We're starting at the 9th grade. So I could pass the 9th grade. That doesn't mean I'm done with high school. I'm still in school. So I went to the next level, but I'm still in the school. So it's two different ways that you're going through that elevation process until you get to what would be considered the final ascension, which is the ultimate mastery. So I think that it's just a complex way to really view repeated cycles, because it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you didn't pass. We're still in Earth School, so we have a lot of mastery to go through before we get to that final point. Yeah. And then you get into either, people believing in predestined versus predisposed, whether you believe if you chose it ahead of time or whether you believe that you are creating the reality while you're here. So that's a whole nother thing too.
But that's more like, if you want to lean to percentage wise, the percentage is higher that we are creating our reality.
No, I was just throwing that in to say I know that some people believe in one or the other. I believe in predisposed, just like you. I believe that I have the ability to create my reality, even if I come into this realm, like you said, at the bottom of the totem pole with the veil, maybe not fully remembering, and it takes time for me to get there. I still believe that. Let's say I become aware, and I'm like, okay, now I realize who I am, and I don't like nothing that's going on. I can change that. Yeah.
Absolutely. You can change. You have the power and you can change it.
Right. So, yeah.
It's mad ghetto. It's mad ghetto. I love the flow of this because it seems like we're kind of just going right into the next segment. It's 2 questions left, and I saved them for like the end of it because the next one is, do you think karma plays a role in shaping our next life? And then the final question is, what does spiritual success look like to you? And I definitely want to talk about those steps of what would make you ascend, right? In our opinion, because we have talked about we've talked about a few different questions, and it kind of gave of where we think we came from, but it didn't really tap into like, how do we think we can reach that next level aside from ascension? Like, what does ascension look like ultimately? But let's do the show plug first. Welcome to Theory Thursday. If you are just tuning in, this show happens every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. This is a safe space where we dive deep, we think different, and we question everything in a fun and a curious way. Tonight, we're exploring reincarnation. It's the idea that we've been here before and that we're going to possibly be doing it again. I've started asking my guests we went through 3 of the 5 questions. We're going into the 4th question now, which is, do you think karma plays a part? Hold on, let me go to the question so I can say it right. Do you think karma plays a role in shaping our next life? How so? I'll start with this one. For me, I put, yeah, but not in like a scary way. I feel like it's more like spiritual feedback in essence. It's a way for our soul to say, hey, like this still needs to heal. I also like how Lola said, you know, we can also just be here to be that light. Like, I never thought about it like that, honestly, you know, like I never connected the dots because I do believe in angels on earth, right? Like there is people that is here, they really are meant to be light, right? And now I'm kind of questioning, like, okay, I get it. Like some sources of energy, because we know energy can't be erased. It just like replaces itself, transfers. So yeah, some lights are just reliving to be that light. I get it. I also see that on the opposite side now too, that some darknesses are repeating these cycles too, to be those weeds in our gardens. Hi, Alicio. But yeah, I think that karma plays a major part in how we come back. Like if we are, I'm not, wait, it gets deep. Okay, so the more I think about it, like I feel like the more consciously aware, like spiritually, dictates what we come back as. Because if we're just going through life and I feel like we're choosing to be oblivious, I feel like we're not ascending. And for me, I feel like the more you choose to ascend, the better the odds is of your next life. For me, once we reach what would be, I guess, Godhead, what would be considered Godhead if I had to put it into words. Once you reach Godhead in a certain lifetime, that's when it kind of stops it for me. Meaning, spiritually, I've chosen to take a journey of not necessarily like purity, but like taking the steps to purify myself, like my chakras, getting my inner works in order. I think the more you focus on your inner energy, the more you start to seem like superhuman. You start being able to manifest certain abilities that the average human wouldn't have, as opposed to the ones that are going through these, I don't know what to call it. If anyone knows what that process is called, you can help me. But that's the process that I think it's about, reaching that Godhead level of spiritual awakening. And depending on what level you are on your spiritual journey depends on how you will come back, to sum it up. And Stud Barbie, now you. The question was, do you think karma plays a role in shaping our next life? And if so, how so?
For sure. Karma's gonna be that energy that again gives you that, like you said, gives us that feedback. So right now, whatever I'm doing, whatever lessons I don't learn will be brought to me next lifetime. I'll pay for that later, you know. But I just want to point out, like, a lot of people will be like, they'll see something happen, and then like something happens to that somebody and be like, that's karma. No, that's not karma. Karma is for the next lifetime. If I'm correct, I believe that's dharma, which is with a DH. That's what's happening like immediately. So you got paid back right now, and you got paid back some later, and depending on what you do, it's gonna knock you somehow. You know, the universe is watching. It's always watching, big brother.
I like that. What about you, Dr. V? Do you think karma plays a role in shaping our next life? If so, how so?
Well, the ancient Egyptians believe when you die, right, your soul get judged, and before you go to the afterlife. And I believe something similar like that. You know what I'm saying? No matter what you do good, no matter how good of a person is, if your soul is rotten, then that is what being judged. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, yes, that's holding effect of what happens to you on the next playing field. You know what I mean? Yeah, it has to. It has to because if I believe right, the general purpose of us being here is it bring heaven to earth, and you going against doing that, and you die. You know, you're gonna have to be held accountable for your rottenness. You know what I mean? It's just practical. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely. Whether you want to call it karma or your soul, yeah, definitely. The actions you do now, you're gonna be judged later, and like not judged, but it's gonna be affected. You dig what I'm saying?
Like that. Alicio, I will get to you since Sergeant Soul Saver didn't show. Okay. Okay. Lola, do you think karma plays a role in shaping our next life?
So I think I think a human understanding of karma is what makes it so complex. Karma is a very old system that is tied to earth, and it will always be connected to earth. But as we were saying before, we do have the ability to create our own reality, which, because mastery, as we mentioned, that's the voiding of karma. That's how we get out of that cycle. But karma, I guess from like a simplistic standpoint, is really just cause and effect. So I do believe that it could be in this life and in another. So like because that's how everything works. When you do something, for every action, there's a reaction. And so the reason what makes it differentiate between if you're going to experience the karma of what you do in this life versus another one is time. And because time is relative, that's where we don't know. So like if I'm doing good or if I'm doing bad, it could come now or it could come later, because it's, we don't know what time the karma will cycle back. I call it a boomerang. And, maybe that's relative. If I throw it farther, it may take longer to come back to me. So that's how I see it. I think that, and even what you said, because it's always hard to explain certain concepts in the language that we speak when they are spiritual. And when you were saying you were having a hard time trying to explain what you meant about the Godhead, it's still the same. It's the journey is connecting back to source. We're here in an individual incarnation to have an individual experience, but the whole earth school, the whole mastery, the whole journey of ascension is to then remember that, we're not individual, we're really all connected. But that only comes into play as we get higher and higher. So I think that it will determine things that could happen based on what you've done in one life. It can come to cycle back in another, whether that be good or bad, because it's really about higher or lower vibrations. And again, if there's something happening in your direct atmosphere that you don't like, I believe that you do have the power to change that by creating or recreating, your reality. So I think that, again, it's an old concept and a system, but we are not bound to it the way people think. When we're tapping into self, and like you were saying, coming into, because we all, again, being all connected, we all have the same abilities, because we can be incarnate, we're on the same planet, we're in the same, but we're not all on the same timeline. So that means that, like, I'm experiencing you as you're experiencing me for whatever we're projecting, but it doesn't mean we're all like, on like, now I'm having a hard time finding the words, but it's like because of time and space, it's not all the same. It's very relative. And if there are beings that may not get to that point, I do think it's all choice, but there are some who, if they choose not to go on that journey to connect back to source, or looking for what you said, like Godhead, I was resonating with that. When they don't do that, they're then just choosing to walk out and just accept whatever karma without changing it, versus those who choose to change it. So yeah, everything is just the different levels of energetic vibration. Love being the highest. Yeah, so that's
Yeah, I love that. Okay. Let me plug the show. Welcome to Theory Thursday. This show happens every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a safe space where we dive deep, we think differently, and we question everything in a fun and curious way. Tonight we have been talking about reincarnation. I've been asking my guests different questions. I'll go through the questions that we have touch base on. The first question was, do you believe in reincarnation? Why or why not? Then we went into, if you lived a past life, what do you feel you might have been? What's a lesson you think your soul is here to learn in this lifetime? Do you think karma plays a role in shaping our next life? If so, how so? And the last question we're going to deep dive into is, what does spiritual success look like to you by the end of this life? So we can start with Lola. I think we started with Stuck Barbie last time.
When I was thinking about, that was hard for me when I was looking at the questions ahead of time and thinking about what I would give an answer to when it comes to spiritual success. It was hard because I never put those two together. I've thought about like physical or financial success, or, you know, but never spiritual success. I never worded it like that. So I'm not really sure. I think, again, just going back to mastery, if I'm just looking at success from the definition of just the accomplishment definition of it, then yeah, I would definitely say just being in tune with what I chose to master and making sure that I stay focused on that so that that actually happens. Because sometimes I'm hard on myself, and I feel like, as we were talking about like Earth School, when it's like, dang, I really like, I just realized that was a test and I feel like I just failed. And then it's like, nah, I gotta wait to see how it's gonna come back, because I might have to take that test over again. So sometimes I go through that mental process. But I can't say that I know what I feel like spiritual success would be, because I've had other incarnations, and so I don't know if it's like, oh, it's because, you know, a lot of people would say like, oh, I just, with the whole Earth is ghetto and having, especially if you've experienced a not so great, which I've gone through some things, and I can understand that notion of like, I don't want to come back. You know what I'm saying? But that's the self in the moment saying that, and it might not even be attached to your higher self and what you may have already decided to do. The only thing that I felt like I like to share, because this, when it comes to reincarnation, I definitely, because I studied sacred geometry, and the same as Dr. Valentine was saying, a lot of things have come from the downloads, you know, through meditation and just that spirit communication. And I always share with people, like, if they believe in reincarnation, but then they want to know more about their past lives, or just want to be able to, you know, be on that journey to what they may consider spiritual success, I would say to look up, there's two entities, Metatron and Cryon, that I've received downloads and communication from that's been helpful, that would definitely help you to access your portion of the Akashic records. Is it always necessary? I'm not really sure, but I think it's really helpful, because then when you have that information, then you can decide, you know, exactly how you can apply it to your reality and to your manifestations. So again, it's Metatron is an entity, and Cryon is spelled Kyon. I've seen a lot of his channelings on, I'm sorry, not his, I'm not attaching it to a gender. My apologies. Cryon's channelings, you can find them on YouTube. And as far as Metatron, they've said Metatron is an angel. I just refer to it as an entity. And there's no channelings I would see that you can search, but just through meditation is where I feel like you can access that being. Yes, Cryon, that's how you spell it.
Yeah, if you don't mind putting it into the chat.
Absolutely. And those have been very helpful for me. I've been one of the beings that I feel like sometimes spirit helps me to learn things even though I don't physically experience them. And I'll come to certain knowledge and I have to like write it down, you know, take my notes and stuff. And then sometimes I may get a physical experience that I could then compare it to or go back and say, oh, now I know what this means. I may not have known what it meant when I first wrote it down. And so I would definitely, if you are really wanting to go on that path, I would say that those are the two entities that have helped me a lot on my journey. But I'm still trying to figure out what spiritual success might mean to me. I'm glad that question was posed because it helps me to then go back and kind of explore that.
Thank you for that.
So, I mean, if I were really to attribute like some physical things or some characteristics of spiritual success for me, especially at end of life, like for all the things that I heard we can do, like spiritual success to me looks like I can manipulate the elements. I'm a water bender. I'm out here Spider-Man in your face. I'm freaking touching the water and I'm in Africa now. Spiritual sex means I can fly. Like I can use the tunnels under the tunnels in the NYC that I heard about. These people right now, they flying from the north to the south. Like, and I'm using my powers for good. I'm in this underground organization and we saving the children and we doing things that you never even heard of. You thought you read it in a comic book, but I done read it in a book. I have this book. It's called The Pyramid Code. It's a memoir of this guy's reincarnations. You feel me? And I learned so much from that book. So for me, like that's what spiritual success would be to me because I can't do any of those things right now. And he had to raise his spirituality to be able to help in the way that he does right now. He had to figure out those physical cheat codes of life and surpass all these other tests, and then he had some teacher reach out for him. So for me, spiritual success means I got a spiritual leader. He popped up on me. He was like, all right, step Barbie, we choose you on our team now. We finna save Earth. I'm like, okay, can I say bye to my mom first? He's like, don't tell your mom. You know what I'm saying? They done turn me into some superhero or some shit. I can't talk about live no more unless you ask me about it. I'm like,
it would be so dope, right?
You know what I'm saying? Like something of that nature. But if none of those things happen, I heard there's a person, they could measure you, right? You said there's levels to this. They could touch you and measure you and do something. They could tell you what level you're at right now. You know what I'm saying? And you could get measured again. I'm with the measurements. You know what I'm saying? I'm with the measurements. If you want to but again, that takes
like how far,
I need to get to
lifetimes away before I reach ascension, right? Like,
no,
is it
like
possible to reach it?
Do you remember who the author is of that? You said the Pyramid Code?
The Pyramid Code, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Can you type that in the comments too?
It's so good.
Dr. B, we're about
my
to
comments.
Get to you.
I'm sorry, guys. If you guys have been talking to me in the comments, my comments have been broken for the longest.
Oh. Yeah, I was wondering what you typed tests.
Yeah, it's so good. And like that right there, like when they put it out as a book, as a memoir, like that right there tells me like you didn't put in the nonfiction section. You didn't put in the fiction. You know what I'm saying? Like that's acknowledgement right there. That's all. Okay. But the Pyramid Code, and we did this as a little book club, whatever. And honestly, the way I even stumbled upon all this information was on Instagram. This guy, he feels like it was his duty to get the word out, so he built a platform where we can watch TV. It's called Unified TV, and it was advertised to me as Stubbury. Don't you know there's tunnels under New York City with kids in it? And I said, yo, that's for the subway. And then I did the free trial, but I learned a lot. And then I freaking bought a book, which is not something I would usually do. I might download it for free, read it on my phone. I was like, I had to buy it because I didn't want them to take it back from me, the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So I had to buy it. That's how I felt about it.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. The Pyramid Code?
Yeah, the Pyramid Code, and the author is anonymous, but the person who released it, his name is, hold on. Jason Shirka.
Jason Shirka, and it's called the Pyramid Code.
Yeah, this guy right here, Jason Shirka. If you guys want to watch his interviews with the guy that the book is the memoir is on, it's on Unified TV for free, and it's so awesome. And honestly, honestly, bonus bay, if you even pick up this, if you get the free trial to Unified TV, you're gonna have an unlimited resource of theories for Theory Thursday.
Unified TV.
Yeah, with the Y.
Okay. Okay. Now I want to get into Dr. Valentine's answer, Unified TV, Jason Shirka, Pyramid Code. Just to re-say the question, it's what does spiritual success look like to you by the end of this life, Dr.
By the end of this life, I believe it's becoming an ascending master. Now, I believe ascending mastery could be after life and while you're still living. Because I feel as if being an ascending master is just obtaining the knowledge and the wisdom, and then the understanding of the knowledge and the wisdom. So you could be able to apply it, and it will look like when you combine. See, I have a weird theory, right? But a lot of people wonder how they built the pyramids and stuff like that. Well, I believe it was an ancient civilization with advanced technology, and not the same type of technology that we have, but the type of technology where they combine spirituality with science, and that became some type of exotic, freaky type of technology. So I feel as if once you gain the knowledge and the wisdom and the understanding of the knowledge and the wisdom, you'll be able to combine that with science, and that's when we'll start. You'll start being able to look like the X-Men, like Study was talking about. I want to shoot lasers and spike webs and climb walls and save children out the sewers. That's where you start looking and start being able to have this exotic, but I feel as if it's just exotic technology, you know what I'm saying? And that comes from being an ascended master, ultimately.
I like that. I like that a lot. For me, I would say I wrote down peace, like spiritual peace, feeling like when it's my time to go, I feel like I did everything I set out to do. And I did everything with good intentions. Like I never had ill intentions for people. So breaking certain cycles that I feel like was placed upon my family and my generation, beating statistics, I feel like that'll make me feel at peace. You can't control what you can't control. So I feel like as long as I do my best with the things that I can't control, once I gain that knowledge of it, that'll leave me at peace. And that's what spiritual success looks like for me. Thank you all for sharing your answers. I'm gonna plug the show one more time. And I did have a game I wanted to play, but it's a little bit like childish, guys. I'm gonna be honest, a little silly. But welcome to Theory Thursday. If you did just tune in, this show happens every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. This is a safe space where we dive deep, we think differently, and we question everything in a fun and a curious way. Tonight's topic was about reincarnation. I've asked my guests 5 different questions. We are now wrapping up. We'll go over highlights or any last minute things we'd like to add in. If anyone from the audience would like to request the box for any last minute, you can request the box if you'd like to. Hi, Lexi. So basically what I got from this, I appreciate you all for joining in the conversation. What I got from this tonight is that we had everybody basically believes in reincarnation tonight. In one way or another, we have different beliefs around the idea of what we can come back as, or what the process is of coming back. We also have different beliefs of how to reach ascension so that you can choose to not come back. Do we have any takeaways that we want to add?
I had a follow-up question about something you had just said, about the positive or good intentions. And obviously anybody can answer it, but how do you all feel, or what's your philosophy when it comes to those who may have wronged you? And that's like, saying wronged you is like really light. But like, because I where my mind went when you said that, I believe that obviously intentions start with thought. And so personally, when I think about those who wronged me on a very, very, like, I'm talking about egregious, I'm talking about like bad, or even my children, it's like all this knowledge I've acquired, things that I'm practicing and everything, and maybe that's just, I'm speaking on my current state of mind and being, I don't think I owe them any positive anything. And it doesn't mean I'm sitting and like, I'm not like sitting in a long-term way, or like thinking negative about them or anything, but it's just like, I feel like I don't, like, you know how mainly in, well, I don't want to come across predatory to any like specific religious belief, but I know in certain religious beliefs they talk about like, oh, pray for your enemies. And I'm like, if I chose, for an example, if I chose to do that, it wouldn't be the prayer that you think I would pray. Okay, I'll pray for them, but so what I'm saying is, like, if somebody wronged you in whatever level, do you think, that you would be wrong for not offering that positive intention? Because I feel like I have no positive intention toward anybody who has abused me, let's just say, right? And it's like, because I feel like I don't owe them that. They chose to use, because it's all duality in this realm. Dark isn't necessarily evil, but it can be used for evil.
Correct.
And so I feel like if you made that choice to use your darkness for evil, why do I owe you positive intentions?
You don't owe nobody anything.
So I was just wondering how y'all feel about that. I guess I'm struggling. Sometimes I be having thoughts like,
yeah.
Look, let me tell you something. You come in my house, you kill my cat, you beat up my girl, you smack my my girlfriend around, and you kill my cat, and you motherfucker light this stuff on fire and stuff like, I'm gonna kill you. It ain't nothing to talk about.
I just wanted to see who agrees.
No, yeah, I get it. It's different. Like we said, it's different levels, right? I honestly feel like so the law of detachment. So I feel like as long as things affect you in that realm, you're going to always have a certain lesson that you're going to be facing. I think that's my answer for that. I feel like you can get to the point to where things of this physical realm doesn't affect you. And I think that is also a part of the process of reaching back to source, connecting back to source, being the light, not wishing ill on those that has done ill to you, but getting to the point of where, kind of like, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all type of mindset. Because you can't control other people. We can only control our reactions. And I think the more, for myself, the more I learn to process that, the more detached I become. from what other people does. You know, I still am attached when it comes to people playing with my money and like testing me about my children. Like, I'm not saying that I don't have those lessons. I am still facing those lessons too, right? But I truly feel like spiritually, that's what it's about. Practicing that law of detachment, practicing all the laws, right? That can help guide us to that ascension. What about you, Stud Barbie?
I'm quick to forgive because I have what's called Harry Potter syndrome, and if I'm mad at you, you finna get hurt. My grandma says she done put a spell over the family, whatever that means. You rebuke that for your own sake, okay? So, and that for me, I'm quick to forgive because I don't want to be the reason why the universe hurt you so bad. You
Mm,
be the only reason why the universe hurt you so bad, not because I was festering, and I festered before, and I've seen people get hurt, and I hear stories about how my dad festers and people get hurt. So I don't do that, but I won't forget because that's where I get hurt again, right? Because you said that somebody's wronged me, right? So how should I react? I'm quick to forgive, but I'm not going to forget because I need to make sure you don't hurt me like that again and nobody else hurts me like that again.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then that's where I've like taken control. Now, I feel what Dr. Valentine said about all those things that could be happening in the moment. And I'm definitely one of self-defense, but I'm also a little bit like, I'll play dirty if I have to, but I'm chivalrous in a sense that if I could tie you up and leave the police come get you, that will happen. And that might be worse than what I could do to you, right? Because there's a movie out there where the guy's like, kill me, don't let them take me to jail. And I'm like, haha, you're going to go to jail. So maybe I will put you out your misery. I don't know. I don't think I don't want to kill. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? If I have to type thing, if I would have to for self-defense, that would be it. But I really will like try to diffuse and then like try my best to walk away from the situation. But you're not gonna think that you're gonna do it to me again. That's not gonna happen. You're not gonna have a chance to do it. If I think you're gonna do it again, then for my safety, I'll make sure you don't do it again.
Absolutely. I
But for the
appreciate
most part,
that.
I need to.
I definitely
Sorry,
took my notes.
I'm like, yo, sister, brother, love, I'm out.
I love that. Yeah. No, yeah, I agree with each and every one of you to a certain aspect. Do we have any other last minute questions? I like that follow-up question, Lola.
Thank you. I'm trying to work through some things. And so I'm just, like I said, I took a lot of notes on this one. Reincarnation was a good one for me. And I definitely was making sure that I retained the information that everybody shared. So.
Yeah, I liked this a lot. I appreciate you all for being a part of the conversation, for real. And you in the comments too. Thank you all for being here. Make sure you fave all my guests. Thank you so much. I guess
Yo, no, for real. I was just gonna say thank you to Lola because she said some things earlier that really the way you say things, I have these thoughts that I can't put together, and you just put it together so well, just, and I just eat it up because I'm a sponge. But when you said we're not bound by karma, that I didn't understand this. You know what I'm saying? But I kind of had it in my heart when I say to somebody like if you don't make life happen, life's gonna happen to you. That when you said we're not bound by karma, that tied in right there because that's what it is right now. You're gonna sit there and just things are gonna just keep happening. If you just sit there, things are gonna keep happening. You know what I'm saying? But then you take charge and then you're not bound by it anymore. And then bang, master level. Ooh, delicious.
Yeah, that's it. And I learned I learned everything I learned about reincarnation and past lives came from Metatron, and everything I learned about karma came from Cryon. But because I get those different channelings or get those downloads continuously, it's like I have a whole book of notes that I'm still like
Emoji J.
and learning. So yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. Let me do an outro. And if we would like to continue the conversation, we can just so Emoji J can end the video. So that's a wrap for Theory Thursday this week. I appreciate you all for joining in the conversation about reincarnation. So that's it for now. Next week, same time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. Peace out, everybody. I'm still here, though.